Hey YouTube, I wanted to put a quick video together. Before I do though, I have a request from you guys, a favor if you will. I need you to put on your thinking caps. I had an idea, and I don't know if it's doable, and we're not there yet, but it's something for the future to kind of think about, but I don't have every detail worked out, and I'm hoping that you guys can help me out. I was watching Golden Pharaoh's video. It was basically he was giving us tips on how he saves a little bit of money on larger silver purchases. And it's his video with the silver chain in the background. And as I'm watching this, he basically said that he was able to flex his financial muscle in the fact that he places large orders, and he was able to trim some money off the orders. And as I was watching it, and for those of you that watched it as well, you probably had the same reaction I did. I mean, wow, that's fantastic. I wish I was in that position. And I'm not. And you're not. But are we? You know, I have 800 subscribers now, and I get it. Some of them are passive subscribers, some of them are duplicates because some of you guys have alter egos. But you know, once my channel got to say 2,000 subscribers, if even 10% were willing to get on board with this, do you think a bullion dealer, especially one of the smaller ones like Silver Gold Bull, would say, you know what, 200 customers buying from us every month, you know, religiously, also doing unboxings and promoting us on YouTube, maybe that's worth free shipping. Maybe that's worth a cash price for a credit card. Or going up another tier, right? You have tiers. You order 1 through 19 coins, it's a certain price. You order 20, it's a certain price. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. There's some logistics to work out, right? There'd be no personal information. Look, that exchanged, that's obviously a deal breaker. I'm not saying that at all. Trust me, nobody is even suggesting that. Also, just using a code wouldn't work, because then the code goes viral and everybody that was going to shop on Silver Gold Bull, I'm using them as an example. It could be Gainesville, it could be anybody. I would think that a smaller bullion dealer trying to make a name for themselves would be more open to this, but regardless, my point is a code then goes viral and suddenly everybody is entering Silverfish at checkout, and they're just losing money by doing that. So there's got to be a way for us to say, you know, we're 200 strong, we order a lot of silver, can you give us a break? I don't know, just something for the future. And again, guys, if this is a bad idea, if I'm out of my tree on this, just say so. You know, say, look, no, Silverfish, this is a thin margin business. Those guys won't budge an inch. And you know what? That's fine. I've had a lot of ideas, and a lot of them don't have legs. Although I will say that I was mixing iced tea and lemonade in the 70s. So Arnold Palmer, you're a fraud and you owe me money. All right. So basically this video is about maintaining the illusion of wealth and what you'll do if a financial shock hits. And I'm not talking about a dollar collapse. I'm talking about, you know, I believe that the economy is in a slow decay, and I think we're headed that way for a while. So, you know, there's going to be times when, you know, some of us are going to lose our jobs, have a health scare. You know, you have a kidney stone and you're going to rack up some serious medical bills, just a simple kidney stone. You know, how are you going to survive that? You know, they say, the expression goes, if your neighbor loses his job, it's a recession. If you lose your job, it's a depression, right? And there's some truth to that. So how will you weather that? There's a lot of pain in the economy. Most people, Americans especially, are conditioned to think of things in terms of moving forward, right? Think about how many times we hear progression, progress, versus regression. Okay, we evolve. You work towards a promotion at work. Rarely do we think in terms of a demotion. That's one of the reasons that so many people have trouble finding jobs when they lose their job, because they're looking for the same amount of money. It's just not going to happen in normal cases. It's so hard mentally to take that step backwards. You know, I had a Subaru Legacy. I bought it in, it was a 98 Subaru Legacy. Best car I ever had. I drove it for 10 years and put 250,000 miles on it. Best car I ever had. And I hated it. Do you know why? I had to trade in my BMW for it. Okay, I had a big shot job in my 20s, and I was spending money pretty loosely. I had a BMW 325, gorgeous car, but I took a pay cut in my next job, and I had to sell it. So I hated that Subaru Legacy unfairly, completely unfairly. I admit it. I at the time I didn't realize it. I realized in retrospect that was a good car for me, but I never appreciated it because I was moving backwards. We're not conditioned to moving backwards. But what happens when your finances move backwards? So many people's self-worth is tied up in their net worth. I told you about 2008 when my finances were leveled. It was tough. I was in a pretty dark funk. I felt like Sisyphus helplessly watching that boulder roll back down to the bottom of the hill. I couldn't believe that I had to start over again. I've started over a couple times in my life, and I couldn't believe that at 38 years old, I was starting over again. But you only really have three choices, right? You can give up, which I simply never accept as an option. In the case of 2008, I just rolled my sleeves up, worked some overtime, and tried to get my debt paid down. And yeah, it was tough. You know, I felt like I was living in a dream world for a while. But you got to do it. You got to make the necessary. You can make the necessary cuts in your lifestyle. How many of you are prepared to do that? Have you ever thought about what would happen if you lost your job? You know, would you give up your digital cable, your iPhone with the data plan, with the max data plan? You know, would you trade in your nicer car and drive something lesser? Have you really thought about what would happen? And I know that a lot of people that regularly watch my videos have already done this stuff. That's because we've made these changes and started using the extra money to stack silver. I get that. But there's a lot of you that will be coming that are new to my channel, and you need to ask these questions of yourself. I wish the government would make the necessary cuts in their lifestyle. I don't think they ever will. Or the worst one you can try to do is you can try to keep the illusion of wealth going. Nothing's wrong in my life. I'm still going fine. Meanwhile, you're racking up the debt. Let me tell you a quick story. My wife had an aunt and uncle. They were upper middle class. You know how every middle class seemingly has one aunt or uncle that somehow rose above it all? He was a mid-level manager for a pretty big company, so he made probably, I'm guessing, like 90s to six figures. And she had a good job as well. And, you know, you can live really well in New England on that salary. And basically, he lost his job shortly after 9/11. And you'd never know it. You'd never know it. So, you know, you think, oh, he must have had some serious savings. You know, he's doing okay. He's surviving it. Well, he wasn't. He had some massive credit lines that he built up when he was doing well, and he ran up $100,000 in credit card debt, trying to maintain the illusion of wealth. He ended up on antidepressants, and he ended up killing himself. Okay, he couldn't adjust to his new financial paradigm, that things had changed, that his lifestyle would have to be downsized. You know, he had a beautiful house. And I've always wanted a beautiful house. But at some point in my life, I realized that it's more important to have a nice home. Think about that. Okay, so anyway, his wife ended up in a downward spiral herself shortly after her husband's death. She ended up drinking very heavily and recently passed away herself. So, you know, you only get one shot at it in life. And now they're not going to get to see their kids grow up. They're not going to get to see their grandkids grow up. All the great things about life are gone for them because they couldn't adjust to their new financial reality. And remember, guys, I'm not talking about a dollar collapse here. I'm talking about the slow decay. At some point, most of us are probably going to see this because of the way the economy is. You're going to get downsized. You're going to have a health scare. Okay? Something as simple as a kidney stone can give you some serious hospital bills. But most people try to maintain the illusion of wealth at all costs. Our society is funny about money. People will talk about sexual problems before they talk about money problems. It's like money is a taboo subject. I've disclosed more personal financial information and issues to you guys than I have my closest friends and family. There's something comforting about the relative anonymity of the internet, and you can say things that you normally wouldn't. The problem is, as the middle class shrinks, more and more people will be faced with this dilemma. Just make sure that if you face a financial shock in your life, you've prepared for it mentally and you know how you'll deal with it. I personally feel like after 2008, I'm pretty battle tested. How about you?